Hi guys, it's ALCHEMY. How's everyone doing? Good, I hope. Today I'm here to talk to you about lots of the newer releases that have come from a brand that I really like called Strangers Pafumerie. If you don't know who this brand is, it is the work of a lovely gentleman who I've met a few times called Prin Lomros. I've talked about him on my channel quite a few times. He has become very prolific in the niche perfume world. Not only does he have 3 lines of his own, but he makes perfumes for lots of other brands as well. He's made 3 for Zoologist, who are my favorite brand, and he's made 1 for a German brand called Der Duft, as well as others. He posted one just recently, actually. But anyway, recently he sent me a whole bunch of stuff. Pretty much everything that I hadn't tried over the last maybe year and a half because of lockdown and all kinds of craziness. Insert picture here. But today I'm going to talk to you about the new Strangers perfumes. That's one of his 3 lines. It is his line that is, I would kind of say, ready to wear, a little bit more easygoing, but still niche smelling. So there are 10 of them, and some of them are exclusive to certain shops in certain countries. So if you're watching this from any of those countries, you'll be able to get it there. But as I always say, if you look hard enough, you'll find things. So let's just dive in and start smelling them. I'm going to show you them in order of my least favorite to favorite. And I have tried all of these on skin at one point or another. But this is going to be note list and brief overview of how I think they smell. So let's begin. So the first one is called Yuzu Soda, and rather than putting the thing up to the camera, it's going to do all kinds of craziness. I'll put the name in and probably the picture as well. So this one, the reason it's my least favorite is not because it smells bad, it's just that I'm not really into citrus perfumes as a perfume lover. So the notes of this one are camphor, pear, rosemary, basil, aldehydes, vetiver, bitter orange, yuzu, soda, mint, magnolia musk, petitgrain orris, and seaweed. So this one's themed on a drink, a nice, vibrant, fizzy drink to refresh you on a hot summer day, which is not what it is in London right now. And I like this. I think it smells really fun. He's definitely got the soda part down because it does have this tingly, fizzy thing that happens when you smell it. And yuzu to me is kind of a bit grapefruity. I think it actually is Japanese grapefruit, possibly. I could be wrong, but it's still really pleasant anyway. And for me, this reminds me, if you ever smelled his other perfume called Oliver, it's got this citrusy feeling, but then it has almost like a clean spark going through it. It feels like a linen type smell as well. And it's really enjoyable. It's really vibrant. It's really the word that lots of perfumers, reviewers use that everyone hates, effervescent. Yeah, I said it. And really pleasant. I actually haven't tried this in warm weather, but it's very light and it's essentially about citrus. I don't really smell pear or anything camphorous or even rosemary, but it's got a sparkly yuzu note with a kind of, yeah, to me it feels a bit like a linen smell, a very distant relative or even one slight DNA of white linen by Estee Lauder, but not anywhere near as flowery or vintage as that. But yeah, it's definitely that. So let's move on to the next one. The next one is called Summer Peaches by the Tea Room, and this one is an exclusive to Thailand, which is where Prin is from and where his brand is from. And there's a shop called Exclusive One, or a website called Exclusive One. So if you're in Thailand and you want to smell it, maybe that's the place to try it. Or if you're anywhere else and you want to try it, that's where you need to go. And this one is honeysuckle, musk, bergamot orris, grass, rose, peach blossom, green tea, wisteria, neroli, freesia, and cedar. What a beautiful note list. This one I actually wore to bed last night, strangely enough. And this one's really mellow. When I think of peach in perfume, sometimes the peach note can be really, I don't know, just fake and sometimes waxy, or even sometimes a kind of woody, like fuzzy peach smell. And because this one's peach blossom, along with other blossoms, it's a very demure, light, mellow fragrance, which is lovely. It's not overly fruity. It's not just like a big dump of synthetic peach. It's done very delicately, and it's Definitely a summery fragrance. It feels, there is a peach smell to it, but it's very demure. That's the only way I can describe it. It's kind of, not elegant, it's kind of, it's got a real subtlety to it where nothing's too much, and it's very enjoyable, but it's down at the bottom of my favorites because just other things I like a lot more. And this reminds me of kind of like a Disney perfume. I can imagine a little girl wearing this to her birthday party, like her 8th birthday party. I don't know why I chose 8, but before 10, before 10 years old. It's juvenile in the prettiest way possible. I don't mean juvenile in a negative way. It's just got this innocence to it, and I really like it. So it's gently peachy with fluttery blossoms kind of smell. Nothing to do with tea. It's Summer Peaches by the Tea Room, but this is all about, yeah, dainty, delicate peach blossoms and lightness, and it's airy as well. Very, very nice. So the next two are both coffee fragrances. This one is called Caffeine Honey. The next two that are, I'm going to do them together because when Prin uses a coffee note in his perfumes, he usually really uses it. He doesn't hold back with the coffee, the amount of coffee that he uses. So it's an intensely coffee smelling perfume, both of the next two. This one is Amberwood, Hay, Tobacco Cade, Popcorn, Musk, Honey, Ambroxan, Roasted Coffee, Vanilla, Cognac, Almond, and Patchouli. And this one is a super rich, boozy coffee with a real sharp streak of wood going through it. And it's really punchy, this one. It's definitely the strongest out of the ones I've shown you so far. And this one isn't exclusive. So the reason it's down the bottom for me is because I've smelled other fragrances by Prin where the coffee is so prominent like this that I feel like I've smelled it before. You might not have because you don't know the brand if you haven't smelled them, if you know what I mean. But there's Burning Ben, there's another one that's a very coffee-led perfume. This one actually is my favorite of them so far. But yeah, really, it's a super rich, boozy coffee, and it's almost viscous smelling. It's almost syrupy, like an espresso shot. I don't really smell honey, but I do smell more of a woody booze kind of thing going on. And this one on skin is really cool. The woodiness really takes hold of it, and it cuts through that thick, gloopy coffee smell that comes out of this. So, oh, it's really good. I don't know, you have to really like coffee because it's used in such a big amount. But popcorn, tobacco, cognac, vanilla, yeah, I like it. So, but let's move on to the next one. The next one has a really, really long name, and it is, I think, in reference to a song by the singer Robin. This one's called Roasted Coffee, Cigarette Whiskey, Come and Get Your Suede Honey Baby. This one is popcorn, apricot, suede, honey, tobacco, rubber, roasted coffee, whiskey, vanilla, hay, nolimbanol, whatever that is, patchouli, musk, and apricot. So you can see that there are a lot of notes from the other one shared with this one. But I personally prefer this one over Caffeine Honey. And the reason is there is a softness to this one. There is less coffee. It's still all about coffee, but I can smell in here almost like a powdery coconut smell as well. So this one is, I think, more wearable. The other one is such an abundance of coffee that if you don't like coffee, you're just not gonna like it. But this one has more elements going on. It feels more gourmand, this one. I can feel the vanilla more in this one. And it's more pleasant. It's not quite a shock like someone's just thrown coffee over your face like the other one. I like that it's got suede and rubber, but I don't smell anything like that because that would make things, the rubber would make things smell a bit strange, I think. This is actually really pleasant, and like I said, it does lean more gourmand, where the other one is woodier and really about rich coffee. So yeah, moving on. to number 5, and then we'll be into my 5 favorites. So the next one is called Chocolaty, and that is a Thai word. This one is exclusive for Lucky Scent, or I think it's called Scent Bar. They're in LA. This one has a very interesting note list, a note list that I've never seen in any other perfume. So this is pandan leaf, which is a Thai thing. Then coconut vetiver, something called chomonade, jasmine rice, cedar, frangipani, sandalwood, ambrette, vanilla, black tea, and sambac jasmine. So this one is bringing in a savory, leafy type feeling. You have it's like rice leaves, this one. It's actually super cool. I want to put it on my hand right now. I always say, I never know which one's gonna be the one that makes me spray on my hand. I sprayed this on my hand a couple of days ago. You can really feel rice here. It almost has that element of Thai green curry-ness to it, but wearable and in a perfume. You're not gonna smell like an actual Thai food, but yeah, it's really cool to have this savory, starch-like feeling to a perfume. Really nice. And then you've got this kind of tropical floral as well. Tropical white floral thing going on, sitting in amongst rice and leaves. And it reminds me of being in restaurants in Thailand where you have, you know, tropical flowers everywhere. There's orchids everywhere in Thailand, and jasmine as well. So it's kind of like they have bowls of water with petals in them, and it's kind of like eating a Thai curry with that next to me. That's what it feels like, but not scary in the slightest. Very elegantly done. So this one's one of the more intriguing ones, and I really, really like it. I want to give it a full wearing in spring. The next one's called Punk 2077, and this one was made exclusively for a shop in China. I think it's called No Man's Land, but on here it says exclusively for the future. Bit confused about that one. Anyway, Punk 2077, I'm not sure if it's inspired by a film. A lot of the Strangers line are inspired by films or songs or art house movies, because that's kind of what Prin is into. And this one is patchouli, orris, mandarin, elemi, blackcurrant, green apple, amber, gunpowder, pine, metallic notes, cinnamon, tobacco, lavender, vanilla, and geranium. So this one definitely leans on the side of a fougere, but a real funked up, futuristic fougere. So yeah, it feels to me kind of like a dandy gentleman wielding a machine gun, or maybe the Terminator wearing a fougere, that kind of thing. It's very, very strange, but I really like it. It's a smoky, metallic fougere smell, which I've never seen those things paired together before. So yeah, that's Punk 2077. The next one has a beautiful name. It's called Lights Upon Orange Tree, and this one was made as well exclusively for Exclusive One Thailand. And this one I really like. These are my top 4 now, so we're getting into the faves, shall we say. This is such a beautiful petitgrain fragrance, and petitgrain usually is used as, for me anyway, usually it's a background or it's an opening thing, and it's not really the star. And I like this. This fragrance feels like all of the elements that the orange tree can give you in one place, but really with a focus on petitgrain, which is the twigs and leaves of the tree. And it's got a gentle orangey feeling, but then it reminds me of pith. You know, when you peel an orange, and if you've ever accidentally eaten some of the white pith in an orange, it's like a pale oranginess. It's trying to be orange, but there's just too much interrupting. It's got that kind of feeling with this twiggy, leafy petitgrain. Let me tell you the notes actually. So it's petitgrain, musk, hedione, lemon, green apple, bitter orange, cassis, bergamot, vetiver, grapefruit, hay, rose, fig, and gooseberry. So despite the fact that there is a lot of citruses in it, it's not a overly citrusy perfume. It's actually kind of muted in its texture, and I really like that as well. This one is very pleasant, and this is one that I want to lavish myself with when it gets warmer. It feels like you've rubbed orange tree leaves and twigs on your skin and then maybe squeezed a little bit of orange juice on yourself as well. And yeah, as I say, I don't usually like citrus perfumes, but it's not a citrusy citrus, if that makes sense. It's more about the petitgrain. So Prin has allowed the petitgrain to be the star, and I'm grateful for that because you don't see that very often. So let's talk about my top 3. So coming in at the number 3 spot is Fleur de Lune. Oh gosh, do I love this one. This one wasn't an exclusive. No, it's not an exclusive. This one is a gorgeous floral. Fleur de Lune is flower of the moon, I believe. So white lily, iris, rose, peony, perubalm, peach blossom, gardenia, magnolia, vanilla, tuberose, orange blossom, cotton, cedar, the star of the show, ylang ylang, and gaiac wood. So there's a reason why I like this one a lot, and it's because ylang ylang is at the forefront of lots of other flowers. Oh, I love this one. It's so bouquet-like without being florist. It's not like a florist bouquet. It's more of if someone had a bouquet of tropical flowers and shoved them under your nose. And there's really nice tones going on in this one. Little bits of pollen, little bits of white floral sparks here and there, but the ylang ylang is the star, and it kind of smooths over all of those things. Ah, magnolia as well, very smooth flower. Really like this. I don't really smell tuberose, but there are brighter flowers at play, kind of more textured flowers at play, along with smoother flowers as well. But the smooth flowers are what rules the composition, and when you've got that many flowers, it's pretty hard to describe, but it's mainly about ylang ylang with some other really gorgeous flowers around it. It's a bit soapy in the best way possible, you know, like a soapy clean floral. Very, very nice. I put this on my hand yesterday, but I have worn this one before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 floral notes in here. So, and some of my favorites like gardenia and tuberose and ylang ylang. But yeah, I wouldn't say it leans into a white floral. There's enough elements from all of the others mingled in. So that's the only way I can describe that one, but it's very, very beautiful. So let's talk about the top 2. The next one is called Plunge, and this one is one that I foresee a bottle of in my collection in the future. I need this one in my collection because of my top one I have. Oh my God, I've just got a waft of it. Oh, this is so good. Okay, notes. This is orris, bergamot, carnation, lilac, marjoram, jasmine, plum, rosewood, damask rose, aldehydes, tobacco, moss, coriander, peach, and patchouli. And this is a chypre, and it's a really, really good chypre as well. Everything about this I love. This is, think of dark red fruits, plums, pomegranates, cherries, berries, all of that kind of realm of berries sitting on a classic chypre formula. So you can really feel the mossiness of this. It's a nod to a classic chypre, but then really brought up to the now with all of this dark berry goodness. And this one's such a pleasure to wear. It's really punchy, really powerful. And I don't know what the significance of Plunge is, but I like the name as well. I've never heard of a perfume even remotely named anything near Plunge, but I just want to plunge into it. My nose wants to plunge into this blotter right now. This is one of those, when I wear it, I know that I smell fantastic, and it's just really surprising. I've never smelled Prin do a chypre like this before. His chypres are normally way out there, out of the box, very, very modern, where this one does have an element of classic in it. So that's why I really like it. It's a little bit spicy, but it conjures up the imagery of really dark purple, dark purpley red, but in a chypre style. So that's the only way I can describe that one. It's a really good one. If you're into chypres, definitely try this one out. And let's talk about my favorite now, which I've talked about quite a lot on my channel, but I'm going to talk about it again. This one is called A Sort of Fairy Tale in Hyde Park. I don't need to wax lyrical about it, but I'm going to tell you about it. I wore this to a meetup that I did with some of my subscribers, and it got comments, people saying, wow, maybe I put too much on. I don't know, maybe. That's very, very likely, knowing me. Something about this fragrance just really gets me right in the heart. This one is Peach, Orris, Narcissus, Vanilla, Apple Blossom, Broom, Pear, Orange Blossom, Mimosa, Honey, Mandarin, Muguet, which is Lily of the Valley, Heather, and Musk. And I've never seen Prin do a floral so well. He doesn't really go for the florals that much, Prin. He does sometimes, but he's all about dark. He's all about incense and foresty notes and animalic and oud and tobacco. So to see him put his hand to something like this, it's so good. It's about springtime in Hyde Park. I think it's his impression of how he felt when he went to Hyde Park for the first time in spring, or one of the times he's been to Hyde Park in spring in London. And this has everything that I love about a floral. It's got enough going on to keep me interested. It feels to me sometimes like it's got linden blossom in it, even though it's not listed. And I did ask Prin about that. I said, does this have linden in it? And he said, no, it doesn't, but it feels like linden trees and soft mimosa. There's fluttery florals in here. And when you wear it, it becomes smooth, and it's kind of an enveloping floral that's so perfectly balanced that it smells like something else, and that's what I like. It's many familiar florals that combine to make, by our powers combined, you are Captain Planet kind of thing. So good. Really, really good. And the weirdest thing I'm going to say about it, which people probably won't agree with, is that when it's on skin, it makes me think of the texture of Hypnotic Poison by Dior. If Hypnotic Poison was a floral perfume, that's what it makes me think of in terms of texture. It's got that underlying fuzziness that Hypnotic Poison has, but in a floral perfume, and that's very hard to pinpoint or to put across in words, but this is so beautiful. I love it. I've got a bottle of this one, but I also have my 10ml, which I've been using. And this is my winner for sure, but I definitely need to get a Plunge in my life as well, because I'm going to use this 10ml up this winter because it's a very wintry one. Anyway, let's not talk about them anymore. I wanted to do an overview and talk about them. I want to talk about the other things Prin has sent me, but because they are from his Prin line and his Parfums Prasanna line, these things are ramped up to the max in terms of materials and note lists and how intense and complex they are. So I couldn't possibly smell 10 of them in one go. My nose would break. So I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm gonna do with that. But anyway, I hope you guys like this video. Strangers Pafumerie is by Prin Lomros. I'll put his website below, so you can go and check them out. All three of the lines, actually. I'm a huge fan of his, love what he does. So yeah, anyway, I'm Arch from my note, trying to make the world smell better. One video at a time. I'll see you guys soon. Goodbye.